What's good? It's your boy Damien here. Welcome back to my channel. We like to talk about personal finance and some self-improvement. And we all are working to become better people. We're not really perfect. No one is. We got some flaws. And one of those big flaws that most of us, if not all of us, have is procrastination. And today we're gonna talk about how you can not get rid of it completely, because I feel like that's probably impossible, but you can make it a lot better, if that makes sense. Listen, we all love to procrastinate. I get it. It's just a thing. Like, if it's due next week, I'll do it next week. Like, if you're a university student, you know the vibe of doing a paper like the morning of the day it's due. Because procrastination, it really gets you. Some people try to tell you, oh, just plan ahead and it won't matter. Like, my dad would always be like, look at your course syllabus like for the entire year, and then look at all the due dates and just like plan out, oh, we're gonna do it this time, like way before it's due and whatnot. But like, it never happens. But yeah, like, we still get it done, even if it's like 5 in the morning or 30 minutes before the class. Like, some of my teammates would actually finish things like an hour or so before the class, like, or just pull all-nighters. I mean, I feel like most university students have done all-nighters before just to finish a paper or assignment or whatever. But the fact is, it gets done no matter what. And why is that? Because there's a deadline. Because I mean, it's scary hours, because if you don't get it in, then you get a 0, and then if you get a 0, and if it's a paper, it's most likely like a significant part of your grade. That's a big L. That's a big L. But the point is the deadline. But the point of the deadline is that it gives you a sense of urgency, like a kick in the butt. Like, you gotta get this done, like, by this date, or like all hope is lost, basically. But stay with me. Take the feeling of the deadline, or even the deadline in general, out of just school and apply it to your life. Like, the main point of this video isn't actually just, oh, procrastination and stuff. It's the fact that a lot of people, you have like these hopes and dreams and all this good stuff, like all these goals, but then it's just a goal or just a dream, because you don't actually have a deadline for when you want to achieve it. Because, as we talked about, deadlines are what makes you actually achieve things, because you have to have it done by a certain time, or else all hope is lost. So there's this saying that's like, it will take you as much time as you give yourself to complete a task. So as I said earlier, like, if the assignment's done in a week, I'm gonna do it in a week, But if it's done in a year, or if it's supposed to be done in a year, then I'm not touching that until like a year later. For example, for me, so I have a goal of having a full-fledged production studio that no one can say shit to me. It is established in like 7 years. Like, I guess now it's like 6.5. I don't really count the corona times of that year, because that was a rough go. But besides the point, in like 6 or 7 years, I want to have a full-fledged production studio, and that is a set deadline. Like, I want to meet it by then. So like, I gave myself enough room where it's like, oh, if I'm not popping in like the next year, I'm not gonna have a mental breakdown. But I know in the back of my mind, like, oh, another year has passed. Okay, we got less time to do this. We gotta keep applying pressure, And then contrast that with that friend that everyone has. Well, I mean, I'm assuming everyone does, but they talk about all these business ideas, but they stay that just ideas, because just like shooting off the hip, like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. But then obviously there's no deadline to it. It's just a thought. So basically what I'm trying to get across here is, like, literally for anything in life, if you want to like achieve any type of goal, just write down a date. Just literally do it. Writing things down is actually, I don't want to say powerful and sound corny and fake deep, but it is somewhat powerful, because you're like writing it in stone almost. So this way, if you don't get to your goal by the set date, it's either that you're not about the life, like you're not really putting the grind and the work for it, or you just need a little more time. But it has to be like legit that you've been working towards it, but you just fell off a little bit short at the end. Like, I guess technically for me, I don't, like, I have a set date and whatnot, but you can't really judge what like a full-fledged established company is. Like, I haven't gone into it like revenue wise and all that stuff. So it's not that I like failed, but I would still have to work harder because I didn't reach my goal by the certain amount of time that I set for myself. So you set a new date and then you try to achieve the same goal, or if not surpass it. So basically what I'm saying is, if you have a really big goal that you care about, or like any goal that you're trying to achieve, give yourself like a relatively short amount of time to achieve it. Because if you give yourself like a super, like if I was like, oh, in 20 years, I want to have a whole production studio, it's gonna move very slowly. Even with the type of person I am, a go-getter and all that stuff, it's still gonna move slowly because I'm like, oh, well, I got 19 years left to do this. That's like basically the entire time I've been alive. So I'm not stressing, I'm not trying to make like any crazy moves or anything. So relatively short depending on what your goal is, because there's this one podcast, I don't know if a lot, it's pretty popular, it's called The School of Greatness. And one of the questions the host always asks is at the end of the podcast, like he asks the person he's interviewing, or like what goal that they have in general, and then like how long do they think it would take for them to achieve the goal. Like if it was like 3 years or something, or 2 months, not 2 months, 2 years, then they would say something like that, and then he'd be like, well, what would it look like for you to achieve it in 6 months? Because it's possible, it's just you don't have the time frame that would make you like hunker down and crush out your goals. That's it for today's video. I hope this helped you focus on your goals, maybe change your plan of action for your goals, crunch that time down a little bit, apply some pressure to yourself, because they say pressure makes diamonds or bust pipes. So easiest way to find out which one you are in a short amount of time, that's the whole point. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe like, comment, and even subscribe if you really liked it. Well, until the next video, we're signing out.